Yo gamers, what's up? It's GoldDemon12 here, back with another Zenless Zone Zero video, and today I'm going to be bashing Doro44. No, I'm kidding. No hate towards the guy. I just want to point out specifically his title, okay? And don't worry, there's a reason behind it, okay? So his title is Zenless Zone Zero looks amazing now. Now, to be fair, I'll be completely fair. I calmed down since I originally looked at this stuff. Um, Not everybody keeps up, has been keeping up with the game as much as I have. So, again, no hate, chill. Uh, but I would say the game has always looked amazing. I think that's unfair to the game. All right, that's all I want to say. Um, I'll leave it, and that's really at that. I don't watch his stuff. I'm not gonna watch the video. I don't know what he has to say, but at least to me, the game has always looked amazing. And Eurogamer has done a similar title as well, right? For what it's worth, nobody cares about Eurogamer, but again, I don't think it's fair to the game. And as I said, not everyone keeps up with it as like I have, but I think it's always looked good. But the reason I'm making this video is because they've made a lot of improvements that people don't know about. Okay, so we're gonna go over those improvements. All right, it's just that simple. And so instead of reading the interviews, I'm going to pull up a tweet of somebody that summarized it because I know our reading comprehension and our attention span is not that long. So then, over all the interviews that have come out recently, I'm going to tell you why you should be hyped about this game. Thank you to Twitter user Yushi Gushi. I think that's how you say that. I'm probably saying the name wrong, but regardless, they summarized the interviews and I'm going to go over it. So, big TLDR is that according to Hoyoverse, and again, they better follow through with this because this is one of the biggest reasons why I'm sort of like glazing the game and have been is because they've been saying the best things possible for like development and just talking about the game in general, right? And so I just need them to keep their word and this game will be fantastic, right? They're talking very big talk, but they need to follow through with it, all right? But yeah, according to them, the TLDR is that they are prepared to make rather drastic changes if players demand it, which stark contrast from their other games, right? I mean, this is one of the things, right? If you've been in my circle, right, you've been hearing me say like Genshin's dead, blah blah blah, all this, because it is. This is the complete opposite of their mentality for Genshin. They seem to actually care, which is just hilarious, because they're killing that game, um, quite literally. And to me, at least for anybody who would be like, I guess, hardcore in Genshin, if you want to word it that way, it's dead. It's effectively dead. ZZZ is killing it, which is kind of funny because it's, the same company is going in the same pockets, but I don't know, just wanted to point that out there. And from what I know, and the reason why, again, I'm mentioning all this is because a lot of people don't know of the changes that actually happened from CPT2 to CPT3 and what's going to happen in live. And there's a lot of important changes that they did make based on player feedback, right? Um, a lot of people said they weren't going to change the TV system. Well, they actually did, right? So content creators like Imtashed and I think Tectone, I could be wrong. I don't know if he said it. They said that they weren't going to change the TV system. Well, it turns out they actually did. Um, and they even announced that in the live stream if you were paying close attention that they said that they were changing it to keep up the flow of the game and stuff like that. So that's fantastic, but let me continue. Designed to get players accustomed to action mechanics gradually, which is actually really good. This effectively, at least in game design terms, is or not terms. The way you would do this for like game design, right, is you would introduce concepts one by one going through the levels. So as the player goes through it, they gradually learn the game and mechanics, right? You introduce new enemies, new abilities, etc., right? Um, I don't think there's a term for it, but you understand what I'm saying, right? Where you just slowly introduce things into the combat loop so that by the time the player is done with, the intended combat experience, they have mastered, a good portion of the game and are ready to, expand into other gameplay areas, right? So, of course, that's always good. Devs understand the issues of the TV system and have made combat only mode to fix the pace and speed. Now, granted, I can't actually I couldn't actually find that, right? I probably should specifically find the section where they said combat only mode. Zone Zero says being better than Genshin is both a pressure. and motivation. Well, you have it from the developer themselves. He wants to be better than Genshin. Easy job, I'd say. Uh, yeah. Is there one of these that specifically states, again, there's a lot of interviews that they did, freedom to choose how you play. One second, I'm going to keyword search this. All right, I found it, and we're going to read it word for word. So Lee confirmed that during the beta test, we realized that there is a part of the player base that doesn't like the boards and prefers combat. In contrast, another group of users found the boards very fun. This sets, excuse me, this set the team in conflict. Like, who do we satisfy? Because if we aim to center either group, there will be a loss of the other group, right? That's not right. However, the board is one of our selling points, so we do face an issue whereby having upcoming content to put on these boards intended to enhance the gameplay. So basically, as you understand, like I'm pretty sure a lot of people could have seen this coming. That so many people overseas, or not overseas, so many people in the West, from my understanding, absolutely hate the TV things. Granted, I have not played the game. I'll make that clear. I don't think the TVs were an issue. Keep it real. I think I would like it, and where I'm going with this is that 100% certain events, like the end game events, the content you do after the story, the gotcha events that they typically do, and I pray the events are good. They better be. Genshin events suck, but some of the events were clearly going to involve the TV board, and a lot of people wouldn't have liked that, right? And I'm pretty sure a bunch of events are still going to involve the TV board because that's one of the core mechanics of the game. Um, but again, the producer makes it clear that to offer players the freedom to choose how they want to play. So following the feedback from the first two beta tests, the team has made some adjustments. What you can find in the third closed beta is that we separated the hollow exploration into two kinds of missions. The first are combat missions, and the second are exploration missions. With combat, you can just dive directly into combat without any further actions. For exploration missions, it's just pure exploration, board-based gameplay. So, you have it from them themselves, right? And again, hold Hoyoverse accountable for their actions. According to them, they have split up the modes so that you can do only the board and only combat. So yeah, that's pretty huge for a lot of players, I know. And then another huge problem they realized from the CBT is that CBT 1 and 2 was that they made some problems with the pacing, right, and flow of missions. So in the third beta test, we aimed to smooth out the pace and flow of overall hall exploration to a great extent. So yeah, that's going to be mostly story related content. We'll see how that functions, as well as I believe the in-game content for I forget what it is. It's like the tower mode, the whatever the abyss equivalent would be, right? So um, we'll see that. Specifically in support, as well as players finding that they felt more negative towards the boards, the TV wall. I would say that it wasn't because the boards weren't fun. I realized it could be because some of the segments were excessive. Yeah, so again, you get the point. Even the team understood that the amount of TVs would be excessive, right? So that's important. But let's continue. And they additionally say, somewhere in the actual interview that accessibility is a priority. That's fantastic. More people to play the game. Can't go wrong with that, right? Secret combo attacks. So this is an actual thing. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's certain combos with certain characters that allow for like, special abilities to be procced. I know Nicole has a certain button input that allows her to like sit on her suitcase and then fire a rocket and then like fall over as a special little hidden attack. So there's a lot of nuanced things to the combat that I think is really cool in the game that players will be able to experience. And I know I sound like a goddamn salesman for Hoyo, but out of everything that I've seen from Hoyoverse, Genshin has been terrible. I think this is their best work, hands down, overall. Everything. It destroys everything without question. I just need to see them follow through with it. Because I could be wrong. Um, but let me continue. Skill always trumps spending. This is an interesting selling point. Because I believe things like Wuwa are, kind of known for this a little bit, right? A lot of players were like, oh, it's a skill-based game. I don't know if Karo ever advertised their game around that, but this is a very interesting thing to say from a developer's standpoint and culturally, because I know overseas they like to, for their mobile games, they like to do a lot of spending, whaling. It's a part of culture to spend a lot of money on this stuff, right? Uh, I'm honestly kind of shocked that it's like this. But it's very interesting to see how it's going to play out, not only culturally, but also just like gameplay wise, like how much skill is going to be important. Like, what is the level of skill required? Is it mechanical skill? Is it a knowledge check? Like, what is going to actually be required for the game? So this I do think is a very interesting point. I don't care either way as long as it's fun to play, right? That's really it. I do play a lot of very high skill games and stuff like that, and do a lot of high skill like challenge runs and stuff on my in other games. But we'll see how this actually plays out. Potential auto battle. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't think auto battle should be in action games. Now I know, was it Grand Blue Fantasy Relink? Yeah, that game. I kind of wanted to play it. Maybe I should play it. I don't know. Uh, that has an auto battle like farming mode that I know like, creators like Asmongold and Jesus, I can't stop naming people, but anyways, they'll like play the game in the background and just have an auto battle. I think for that it could be good, but outside of like farming stages, I don't really care for this. But I guess it's good for players that aren't as mechanically inclined to play certain combat. So it's here nor there. I don't really have an opinion on this except for I guess well actually no I do. I don't care. Yeah, that's what it is. So TV exploration has been cut back. Excuse me. Yeah, we already read that segment that they're making adjustments to TV exploration, so that's huge for anybody who wants or not who wants, but anybody who doesn't like the TV combat, right? Again, I personally don't care for it. I think it's part of the experience. I think it's chill. So yeah, that's great. Playable characters hang around town. This is fire, and I wonder is it already pulled up somewhere? Yeah, probably not best to show the leaked image in the video. Let me pull up the correct image. Here we go. So in case nobody has been like paying attention, or if you're completely new to the sphere, right, and didn't watch any of the other stuff, this is a real thing. In fact, they even have other outfits for it. So Ella and Joe are Shark Girl here. You can see her going around with casual clothing, just in the open world, doing her own thing, being a vibe. And yeah, I think it's great. A lot of cool stuff that they're doing with this game. And actually, you can look at it with the NPCs and everything. This is the things I criticized them for in their other games. It seems they actually are putting an effort to the surroundings in this game. I know this sounds kind of weird. You're like, but it's an exploration game for the other one. But like the NPCs were all the same in their other games, but this one they actually have variety of NPCs. And yeah, everything looks great. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, and stuff like this, fantastic addition. Not only for immersion but for players, so that they can sit for these characters and get money. I mean, it's a gotcha game at the end of the day, right? Not anything crazy. It's to be expected. But I think that's great. Love the fact that they're doing it, and just seeing more of the characters is always nice. Combat challenges for offering high difficulty levels with faster, stronger, and tankier enemies. Again, we'll see what that's like. I've only seen, or they've only shown off the one, final boss at the end of the, special holo event. So we'll see what they do with this. Faster, stronger, and tankier enemies. Them being tankier can feel bad very easily. I'm sure everybody knows that if you played any, RPG game or I guess looter shooter's not a good example, but if you have been playing, if you have played Destiny, you understand that making them tankier can be bad in some ways. But faster and stronger, or whatever stronger inclines. I mean, I say tankier and faster kind of include that. Is very interesting because for an action game, the faster you make things, the harder it is to react to, and the more punishing it becomes. So yeah, we'll see. But again, sounds great as long as there's a good variety there. Uh, Not too many stages, just a good balanced amount of stages for whatever they do. And then ZZZ follow usual cycle. I'll be honest, I don't know what that means. Um, what does he mean by that? I'm gonna keyword search that one as well. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't find anything important. We'll see what they mean by this. I would imagine this is going to be the 6 week cycle that Hoyoverse keeps for their updates that are. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think it is. I'm not going to lie. We're going to move on. No plans for crossovers or XPIs. I think this is great. I do not care if any of the other characters come to this game. Obviously, I would, dump all my resources into Raiden if she came, but again, I don't care. I don't. In fact, I would say I probably don't want anything. I want wholly original characters for this game because having Raiden in like five different games was gonna get boring after some time. And obviously, there's good behind it, right? But at the same time, I don't really care so much for it, right? As long as they make cool characters, I'm happy. I know some people will be disappointed because they're like, oh, but I wanted to do Raiden in another Hoyoverse game. Again, personally, it's not a big deal for me. I don't think this matters. And I would say it's probably better for them to not do this because ZZZ should have its own style. And yeah, that's really about it. Subsequent updates to what enemies have to offer. Now, this is great. More enemy variety. It is an action game, so this is going to matter a lot, especially because it's live service. The enemy variety is going to matter, I would say, arguably more than their other games because, at least for Genshin, they have bad mechanics and they don't do a good variety of enemies. They're relatively the same, right? They've kept it simple for what it is, and that's really about it. In Star Rail, they actually have made a variety of enemies to get around certain gameplay elements. So like ones that take less damage when they're not broken, ones that speed up via this, ones that stack debuffs on you. Right, they'll do different enemies for different things, but you can kind of overpower them in a way with certain characters, or characters are just so broken that they completely ignore mechanics like that. Right, um, there is a somewhat knowledge check in that regard, but with what they've said in other scenarios like the skill thing, I'm thinking it's gonna be more important to understand the mechanics of the bosses and stuff in this game. We'll see how they do that. But this, comparatively, I'd say is more important to do for a quote unquote skill game, right? Because that's where the skill gap is, right? The knowledge and the ability to actually execute, those mechanics, right? So that's important to know. Quality, not quantity approach to characters. You get a thumbs up for me. Love to see it. I know some people will think that's a bad thing. No, it's actually a good thing because that means you're gonna get more out of that character you like, right? Pretty much. That's the simplest way to put it. In a more developer sense, this means they focus more resources on a per character basis instead of spreading it out over X amount of time, right? They're gonna keep up to a specific set. Like, I mean, they keep up to a specific set deadline anyways, but they're going to focus the resources uh, more appropriately towards making quality characters and not giving you like 20 characters at a time, right? Uh, Star Rail people have this issue with a little bit to where they, at least up until recently, it was only this most recent patch to where Star Rail would get three characters every single patch. This most recent one, I think, is our first one ever to get two characters, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, instead of three characters in one patch, Star Rail finally got two characters in one patch. Genshin used to be two to three. Genshin typically does one or two now. Most of the time, and in fact, a couple times they've actually had none. Um, so we'll see how this plays out, right? They've already shown off a lot of characters. We know our first two limited characters, and we could probably assume our next two, based on who they've shown. And actually, I have that pulled up, right? You know what? I'm gonna pause because I definitely saw it. Also, sorry for all the jumping. I just don't want to show a leak on accident and then have Hoyoverse strike me down with the power of Zeus. But from Zenless World here, they took screenshots of the characters, and here you go. So just to go over the characters real quickly, all of them here are live in game except for these ones of question marks and Mabai, and then also Quinky. I butchered her name. I'm sorry. I don't know how to say their names. Uh, but again, the lolly up top here, the cat and mouse, and then these two are not live in game, and Mabai also is not live in game. Everyone else is and will be playable, right? Ellen's gonna be the first limited character with Zhu Wan as the second limited character. So yeah, there's that. We'll see. I think the characters look fantastic right now. And again, based on their quality over quantity, we'll see what the future characters are like. And that's really about it. More subtle character visual effects. Pog. Uh, that's really all I have to say about that. Potential two character teams in the future. Now, this is interesting because right now you guys know that it is a three character team thing. I'm not sure what they mean by two character teams in the future. Is it gonna like restrict you? You can only use two characters um as in a team or two separate teams, right? I guess it would say separate teams. So I'm probably just wrong about that. But it would be a two character team thing, which is very interesting. I'm not sure how that's going to affect gameplay or even, like end game content. Um, yeah, I really don't know what to say about that. I do think right now it's pretty nice what they've got with the lineup, right? You typically have your two different DPS and then your support character. There's currently no healer characters, and they could add one in the future if they really wanted to. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I don't know what to say about this one, to be honest with you. Art team has free reign when designing covers. Example here. I think this is great. Right, they've got like these cool retro music covers. This is fantastic. Again, I love the style of this game. It's great, and this is cool. I like seeing giving the art teams freedom. They should, right? It's not going to be a quality product if they don't have the freedom to do so. Right. I come from an artist background, right? And that's why I'm a game designer. Right? In case you haven't told, right? I've been yapping so much about it. This is great. You should let them do what they want to do, and it will, people will enjoy it. People won't enjoy it. It's art, right? It's to the eye of the beholder. It's just gonna be like that. Give them the freedom to do it. Don't hold them to deadlines, and let Hoyoverse cook, right? Or let the ZZZ team cook specifically, because they seem to be cooking harder than all the other teams. Not gonna lie. However, stuff known for eating people, talented people of all sudden English, God, talented people would all of a sudden vanish, and months later, fans spot their names and credits of a Hoyoverse project. No hierarchy, each member of the team can come up with ideas and make their voice heard. Again, I think this is great development wise. Let these artists, make their art. If they want to make a silly cow character with, massive badonkadonks, then let them do that, right? Not that I'm saying I want that, okay? Let me make that clear. Nicole is enough. Um, but yeah, let them cook whatever. They'll come up with some like robot, 2B. You get the point, right? I think that's great. And then they do an extra thing, and this is just so based. The producer's favorite anime, Frieren, JJK, and Evangelion. I'm not gonna continue that. Frieren, number one anime, peak, so based, love to see it. JJK, also peak, love to see it. Evangelion, I don't have any hate towards that. That's cool. Fate, incredibly based. Fate is epic. And then video games, DMC, Bayonetta, wholly based. Hades, and then okay, let's be real. Counter Strike, Overwatch, they suck. But then Street Fighter, Monster Hunter is based as hell. And then Miyazaki games. So yeah, that's like insane, honestly. Uh, very based. Love to see it. Can we get a Monster Hunter collab, please? I would love to see that. Monster Hunter is like the best franchise of all time, dude. Now, listen, if you think I'm glazing ZZZ, just tell me that I'm a Capcom glazer, because listen. I'm all over Capcom. Okay, I am the reason Capcom's a business. I, I I'm not gonna say that on the channel. I'll say it in Discord though. If you join the community, you'll see some vile screenshots I said about Capcom. That's besides the point. Anyways, again, no hate towards any of the creators mentioned. I just thought I'd use that as a starting point because I think at least ZZC has always looked good to me, right? It's not like it's good now. No, I think it's always been good, and that's really all I wanted to say with that. Um, and yeah, hopefully this informed you about the changes they made. And if you want to know more, don't forget to like, subscribe, check me out on Twitch, all that stuff. I don't have anything else to say, right? Game looks fantastic. Hopefully you join, play the game, try it out at least. That's all I can really ask. Obviously I'm not sponsored because I got like 5 subscribers, right? Uh, but yeah, see y'all in the next one.